Welcome to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes, and it is an interesting morning to say the least. Maybe you heard President Trump's promise to eliminate taxes and Social Security benefits. Well, it is off the table. And I have to say, I'm actually not too surprised by that. But it is off the table. So instead of getting this nice tax break, well, or I should say present, well, seniors are likely to get only a temporary, and I say temporary, $4,000 tax deduction. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down what's in the budget. I'm going to tell you who qualifies, and I'm going to tell you what it really means for your retirement budget. Hi, my name is Lou Reyes, and this is Social Security This Week, where you're going to get the latest Social Security news. You're going to hear updates that matter, and I'm going to give you some honest talk about what's really going on. And what's really going on with Social Security could affect nearly 70 million Americans. And I'm just going to dive right into it. I think it's just one of those issues that all of us, a lot of us anyway, we're kind of waiting to hear about. But here's what's going on. President Trump's one big, beautiful bill act. Well, it passed the House yesterday, May 22nd, and it passed with 215 votes. There were 214 against it. But yeah, his bill passed. But it did not include his promise. It did not include his promise to eliminate taxes on Social Security. It does include a $4,000 additional standard deduction for seniors age 65 and older. And the deduction, well, it applies for tax years 2025 to 2028. So at the end of the year, yeah, you're going to get a $4,000 additional standard deduction. But keep in mind, this is only for 3 years. It is definitely not what we were promised. And let me just remind you here of what we were promised.
To help seniors on fixed incomes who are suffering the ravages of Kamala Harris's inflation nightmare. It's a total nightmare. I'm promising no tax on Social Security benefits. This cruel double taxation of Social Security benefits only came into existence in 1984, and at the time it only affected a small number of recipients. Now nearly half of all seniors are forced to pay income tax on Social Security, and thanks to inflation under Harris, this tax has hit the seniors very, very hard every single year. With your vote, I will end the injustice. I will always protect Social Security as I did just 4 years ago. And Medicare, likewise, will be protected by me, but not by them. They're destroying the system. Our great senior citizens will be happy, and they will be safe, and they'll be getting their money from Medicare and Social Security. I want to thank you very much. Remember, no tax on Social Security.
Well, I remember you saying that. And so also why I put that up there so everybody else could see what he said. Not that any of us would forget that. But yeah, he was going to take care of us seniors. And I've got to admit something, though, before we go on. I got to admit I was a little bit ambivalent about this whole no taxes on Social Security. While I know a lot of folks out there need it, and I'm not going to say that I don't. Would have been a nice benefit. No taxes on Social Security. But at the same time, I realize and I know what it would have done, what it could have done for the Social Security long term. Because as they say, it could be in what is it, 2033? I've heard 2035. We may be taking a cut of 20%, 25% because of the trust fund running out of money. Who knows? Who really knows what's going on? I don't see that ever happening. But regardless of all of this, we were given a promise, promises made and promises not kept. So why did this happen? Well, it happened for a few reasons. And I'm going to just tell you that if you're going to make a promise like this, you're running a campaign, you want votes. Well, if you're making a promise, know what you're talking about. Know if you can or cannot do this. Know up front before you make the promise. Now, President Trump's not the only one that's made promises that haven't been kept. And we all know that. I mean, we're sitting here in the U.S. and we know that our presidential candidates are not going to always keep their promises. And in fact, I don't know what the percentage would be, but I would tell you probably half the time they don't keep their promises. But this is one that was just so important. And it's just thousands of people who write me, who comment, who email me and tell me how badly they need this deduction, this elimination of Social Security taxes. Thousands of people have written me, check my channel if you don't believe it, because there's some folks out there going to stick up for Donald Trump. Not that he needs to be, someone to stick up for him, but there's some folks out there that are going to do that. But read the comments from other folks, other Americans who are on Social Security who need this break. They need this break. So this deduction is really a compromise. It's not the promised Social Security tax elimination that we were promised. Trump's original tax cut plan, well, we're being told, and we're just being told it couldn't move forward under budget reconciliation rules. But you know what moved forward? You know what's moving forward? The corporate deduction, the corporate tax break of 21%. Trump wanted it to be 15%, but what's moving forward is that tax break. Now, here's the thing. Companies, corporations are getting this tax break, but these are the same people that won't hire you and me. These are the same people that don't want to hire folks who are over the age of 50. They're the same companies, the same management who just would rather just not even look at our resume if we want to get a job. And there's a lot of folks out there who are not on Social Security, but they're out there trying to get a job. They're 50 years old, 55 years old, and they're being pushed out of their job. These are the same companies that are getting this tax break. Yeah, give them the tax break. And I'm not saying they don't need it. I know last time Trump gave the tax break in 2017, yeah, GNP went up a little. It went up a little. But, why not give some of that break? Why not, instead of giving them 21%, give them 18%? Maybe give them less so that you and me, so we can have this tax break. No taxes on Social Security. Think about that. Is that so far-fetched to ask? Don't give as much to the corporations. Take care of the people that helped build the country, the people that took care of you, Donald Trump, and anybody else out there, any politician. So we're not getting it because they have to go down a different legislative path. I understand that. But as part of this bill, Medicaid and SNAP, they're going to be cuts. Yes, they're going to be cuts. And this is going to affect low-income seniors and nursing home residents. And I know some folks out there that are concerned about this because it would have really helped them. But again, they're giving the tax breaks to corporations. And that's really what it's about. It's really about is taking care of those that have, not the people that need. So let's talk about who's going to qualify for this modified adjusted gross income, this break. Well, seniors 65 plus are going to qualify if they're below $75,000 as a single person or below $150,000 if they're joint, if they're filing jointly. Now, it's not a direct payment. I want to make sure that I say this, because at first when I saw the $4,000, I thought, well, maybe that's going to be, when I just saw it, I thought, well, maybe that's a $4,000. That's going to be nice. That's going to increase the amount of money we get back from the government on our refund. But it's not a direct payment. It just reduces our taxable income. So what does this estimated savings? What does this mean? Well, depending on the tax bracket you're in, 12%, maybe 22%, seniors could save, let's say $480 to $880 annually. Now, when you think about Medicaid cuts or you think about SNAP cuts for low-income folks, well, the cuts are going to be eaten up. So let's say you get a SNAP, your SNAP's reduced. Your benefits are reduced by $480 to $880. Well, that's a wash then. But you're not saving a lot. Seniors aren't saving a lot with this. The $4,000 would have been better. And I'm totally understanding, probably more than a lot of folks, I'm understanding what this not by eliminating taxes on Social Security. I understand what it means. I understand what it could mean to the budget. I understand what it means to Social Security long term. But I also know that maybe what we could have done, what could have been done, again, and I'll repeat it, maybe what they could have done is just found another way so that seniors got this tax break. But it's a temporary tax break. It expires in tax benefit that expires after 2028. So this is not a long-term thing, my friends. This is just a few years tax break. It's just so that somebody can say, yeah, well, we did this. We helped. We didn't cut Social Security. We didn't cut Medicare. But what we did is we didn't keep our promise. We didn't keep the promise that we made on the campaign trail when we were looking for votes and we wanted votes. So it leaves a lot of folks out there asking, is this enough? But this is a modest relief for a lot of us out there, and it's certainly disappointing. And there are a lot of folks out there I know already who are probably just looking at this and thinking, why did I, what was I thinking? I was hoping, I was dreaming, but it just isn't going to happen. But this bill, it does impact Medicaid, as I said. It's going to affect seniors in nursing homes. It's going to affect low-income households. But here's the thing about this, before I get too excited, what's important to understand is this is now going to the Senate. It was voted on in the House of Representatives. Now it's going to the Senate. And the Senate's going to take a fine-tooth comb, and they're going to look it over. So we don't truly know all of the deductions, all of the what's going to be in the bill until the Senate is done with this. And I've heard it could be months. It could be to the end of the year. I know that Trump wants to get this done in July. I understand that. But at the same time, it could take a while for the Senate to ratify these cuts, to agree with these cuts. So we're going to see. We've got a long way to go yet on this. But one thing is for sure, the taxes are not going to be eliminated from Social Security. What is for sure is that we are more than likely going to be disappointed again in our elected officials who have made promises made, promises not kept. And I think that should be really their tagline for all the politicians out there. This $4,000 deduction, it's not going to help a lot of us. But I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear from you what you think. And it's interesting when I think about this deduction, because I'm always thinking on this channel, what I do is I encourage folks to start a side hustle, start some business. I encourage people all of the time to go ahead and upskill, to learn a new skill, to go back to school, take a course, maybe become, an accounting course or some kind of a course so that they can increase their value. And it's also why I push frequently. I ask folks to go ahead and take that free career aptitude test. There's a link in the description box. Take the free test, see maybe there's an area that you could jump into, you could get into, that would help you so that you can make more money, and not depend on these promises that we get frequently. We get from politicians who don't keep their word. But regardless of all that, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you're thinking, because is this enough for you? And maybe for some of you out there, it's going to be enough. And I can tell you right now, read the comments that I'm going to be getting on this video, because there are going to be folks out there who are going to be saying, hey, you know what? If somebody doesn't get that deduction, that's their problem. They need to go out and get a job. Don't worry about them. But those are the people that are making a lot larger, a higher income. So yeah, they're not going to be worried. But they're going to be folks who are going to say, this is fine. I don't care. The promise was made. We didn't count on it. We didn't think it was going to happen, but we should be able to count on what we're told. We should be able to believe what we're told by our elected officials. And maybe that's a pipe dream, and I'm living in a whole new universe, another universe, but it's something that I think we should be able to believe. So let's get back to this right now. Let me get back to this and just say what we know, what we do know, what we believe we know anyway. There's a $4,000 standard deduction for seniors age 65 and older, and there will be no elimination of Social Security taxes. Oh my. Oh my, man. Yeah. Oh my. So listen, that's all I've got for you today. I'd love to hear your comments. Also, tune in next Friday. I'll keep you up to date every Friday at 11 o'clock. I'll let you know what's going on. I'll do my best to give you I'll always give you the most current information, but I'll do my best to be able to answer your questions that I get during the week. And just watch our channel, tune in, subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. Either way, it shows that that you paid attention, you're interested in what we have to say here on Over 50 TV. That's all I got for you today, my friends. And as I always say, have a great day, everybody. And I'm going to click out of this thing right now.